Sometimes I hold it like this, but it's real heavy, but it helps stabilize it a little bit. So what I want to do today is make a video for one, hey worship leader peeps, and two, open door volunteer peeps, because what we're going to be talking about is how to use the Behringer P-16 personal in-ear monitor mixer. What I normally do is I have some, I'll have auditions and I'll briefly say, hey, this is how we do it. I audition them with their in-ears and then they make it, and I try to answer some questions. But when you're looking at a piece of gear like this, it's complicated. It's got all these buttons and knobs on it, and it can be overwhelming. What I've never had time to do is tell people exactly how to use it. So we're gonna dive into that today. I don't know if I'm gonna make it a two-part or just a one-part. The first part's gonna be how we run it, how it gets from the board over to the everything it takes to get the sound here, and then specifically how to what all the buttons do. And then the second part is gonna be how to get good tone in your ears, because one of the ways to feel confident on stage is to have good sound in your ears. And just because you have all this access at your fingertips doesn't mean you know how to use it. So we're gonna cover that in the second half, whether it be another video or the second half of this video. I don't know yet.
See, it's like a VGA, but huge.
Yeah.
Those are channel outputs that just take right after gain. They duplicate the signal and they send it out.
Right after gain, meaning they don't get any of the effects.
Exactly.
Okay. And that is on purpose.
Correct. Because if we were giving you all the effects and stuff,
we wouldn't be able to take it out.
You wouldn't be able to take it out, one, but also we're EQing for this space, so it just might sound a little wonky.
Yeah.
Plus you have an EQ.
It just gives us a clean slate so we can EQ up there, which is what we like.
And then those take the channels that we want to send, and we plug those into the back of the thing.
Cool. So the Ethernet cable leaves the patch bay and comes up here to the Behringer distributor. So we use the Behringer PowerPlay 16 personal in-ear monitor mixer, and what is cool about this is that I love it. Now there's two reasons I like the Behringer system over some other brands. The first reason is because you can EQ each channel. There's been several times on other brands where I've tried to EQ my vocals and then my guitar sounds real thin, or I EQ my guitar and then my vocals get muddy because their EQ is just on the whole signal. But with the Behringer, you can EQ each individual channel, and there's 16 channels, so it gives you a lot of flexibility. And the second reason, it's simple, it's just cheaper. So as you can see here, we have 16 different channels. We have click, kick, snare, overheads, bass, 2 electric guitars, 2 acoustic, piano, loop, in case we run loops, the talkback mic so we can hear the production team talking to us, and then we have room for 4 vocals. And how we use this is that you click whatever channel that you want to manipulate, and let's just say I wanted to hear myself. I'm vocal 1. This knob here is the volume knob to adjust the volume for whatever channel you want to hear. This is the first most important thing you got to know, because usually a lot of people say they can't hear themselves, and so you've got to make sure that your channel is up. The second thing that I wanted to mention is that there are 3 actual volumes on this unit. You have this volume knob here, and then you have this secret knob here. It says main, and a lot of times when your vocal or your instrument is turned all the way up and you still can't hear yourself, it's because this main channel right here might be turned down. And a lot of times these things will reset and it will be turned down. And so I usually like the main volume set at about 3/4, which is 6 of the 8 lights. Then you can go back to the channel that you're trying to adjust and adjust it from there. There is a third area, and I know it's confusing, but there is a third area of volume to look at. This knob up here on this top row is called level, and it also adjusts the overall level that goes out of this system and into your headphones. So there are 3 areas if you're looking at, I can't get enough volume or I don't have enough headroom. Each channel has its own volume here. You have the main volume to look at, and then you have your overall level output. The next feature on this unit is it gives you the ability to pan or balance. So you see left, right, you click each channel to go left or right, you can do that. These mute and solo buttons kind of do the same thing, but they're the exact opposite of what they do. If you want to hear only yourself, you can push solo, and then you can solo each channel that you want to hear. Same is true with mute. You can mute certain channels that are noisy or if you just want to take out like a group, like maybe I just don't want to hear the drums for a second while I'm dialing in my ears, that can be very helpful. It can also be very helpful for identifying where a noisy channel might be. So we covered this bottom row, we've talked about the middle row, now we have this top layer to look at. We briefly talked about level, that's your overall output. This limiter knob here is for your protection. What it does is it sets a threshold so that when the sound peaks, it won't damage your ears. Now, one quick tip to know, and this might be confusing at first, is that as you turn the limiter up, it's actually letting more volume through. You're actually turning up the threshold, which is allowing more of that sound. And then if you want to limit more, you need to turn it all the way to the left, which is lowering the threshold, which squashes it too much. I usually like to keep it in the middle and turn it up as needed. Next, we have this section here. It's called the equalizer section. We have bass, mid, frequency, and treble. When you turn the bass knob up, it introduces more low-end frequencies. When you turn the treble up, it introduces more high-end frequencies. Same is true for the mids. What's cool about the mid section though is that it has this frequency sweep. Now this is super helpful for identifying certain frequencies that either you don't like or stuff that you do like. For dialing in vocals, you can find the part of your voice that might sound shrill to you, identify where it is and take it out, or boost some frequencies that you like. Now we have this last section called setup, and the first button is now we have this last sorry, I got it.
Oh. Woo. Oh goodness.
Now this last section is the setup section. We should have started here. Now in this last setup section, our first button is labeled link. Now what this does is it allows you to link an odd and an even channel together. And you might want to do this if you have a stereo instrument like keys or electric guitar. If you're running stereo, it allows you to link together an odd channel and an even channel so you can manipulate those together. Wow, that was a little funky.
It's a little wordy.
A little funky. So what you can do is hit link. You can connect two channels together. I wouldn't connect bass and electric one, but you get the point. We're not running stereo right now, but that's what you could do if you wanted to do that. Let me take that off. Now, the second one is group. Now this is kind of like link, except you can do more channels together. And this might be for certain instruments. If you want to group the vocals together, or if you want to group like the whole drum kit, you can do that as well. Now these last two buttons, recall and store, are for you to be able to save your settings. If you get everything the way you like it, you can store, by holding the store button, you can save your preset on a certain number and it will save it there. Then the next time you play, even if some of the knobs and stuff have been moved around because maybe another volunteer has played since you have, you can push hold recall and hit your channel and everything will return to the way it was. Now you may notice that there are red lights under these knobs. These are very helpful to determine where your saved preset was. So to get back to the preset on that particular channel, you just turn the knob until the light lights back up. There we go. Boom.
You want to add about?
Yes, let's do.
Okay.
The other thing I wanted to mention is that there are lights on this bottom row here, and the red light shows you which channel you're manipulating, and there's a green light also that comes on when signal is being passed through that channel. And so if you're singing and you don't know which of the vocals you are, you sing into your mic and you can tell that by the green light which channel you're on. Now on the back here you can see that these are powered with a 12-volt DC power supply, but you don't have to use those. They are powered through this alternate cable. You can see that when I unplug this, the power goes off and I plug it in, it comes back on. You do have the option to daisy chain these. Say you had more than 8, because our distributor only has 8 outs. Say you needed 9 or 10 of these personal monitor mixers, you can daisy chain them through here to another mixer. But if you do that, you will need to use the power supply because the alternate cable only has enough power for one mixer.
I'm running out of battery.
Okay, go plug it in.
I think that's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know. Now look out for the next video where I show you how to dial in a good monitor mix. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. That would help me out. Let me know that you like content like this. Also, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell so you can be notified when the next video comes out. You can follow me over at Hey Worship Leader on Instagram if you don't already. And I think that's about it. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye. A little hack, it slides. Oh, and you get that smooth, buttery B-roll. Look at that. Look at there. Look at that. Zoom in a little bit. One tip for getting good B-roll is that you don't necessarily want to move a lot, but if you can pivot around something, it makes it look like it's a lot more motion without actually having to move a lot. So. Yeah. Let me get some B-roll of you.
The electric guitar.
I'm gonna get B-roll of you getting B-roll of me.